I'm Rosa Mendez, and I'm here at the #1 Long Island broadcast, Monty and Pharaoh. I had the best time ever!
Hey, listen, Daddy, you're listening to the #1 broadcast, Monty and Pharaoh, Daddy, in Long Island. The best pro wrestling broadcast of all time, I think.
Jimmy, I got to tell you, man, it feels good to be back on YouTube. It was quite disappointing what happened to us, but we bounced back fairly quickly.
Well, what else would we do? We're almost at 5,000 subscribers.
Well, speaking of that, man, we need more members.
Okay.
What do you think we need to do to get the people of those 5,000 subscribers to come on and join the team as a Monty and the Pharaoh member?
Nudity is out of the question. Any other ideas?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I do have a few ideas.
Well, just like Prel, they should tell 2 friends, and they could tell 2 friends, and so on and so on. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Check out all our content.
But that's, you know what? That's why you're the star of the show, because guess what? Members get special content. Even we spoke about it. Pharaoh came to me one day and he goes, man, what's the deal? I can't even watch some of these videos because I'm not a member. And I said, there you go, Pharaoh. You got to be a member because this is what the members get. They get free content that none of the other fans that watch this show get.
That's right.
You get free autographs from some of these wonderful stars that come in, right?
Nice.
All you do is you go to the MNP webpage, or right, our own page, and shoot us an email and say, hey, man, I want a picture of Tommy Rich. I want a picture of whatever. And boy, that's on its way.
We give them their choice.
That's right.
We rock.
We do rock.
And you need to rock too. Join. I can't say I blame you.
Everybody saw you on Dark Side of the Ring, and we'll get to Kanyon in a minute. But there was Dafney Unger also. Did you cross paths with Dafney?
Yeah, a little bit.
And did you have any kind of relationship with her as far as like knowing the ins and outs about her?
No. I just knew Dafney as a real sweet girl. I would hear later from a mutual friend of ours who described Dafney as kind of wild, whatever that meant. But I had no idea that Dafney was dealing with the depression and whatnot. And when I saw that video from right before she died, that was really heartbreaking. Dafney was a really cool girl, and it's sad that it went down that way.
We were fortunate to have Glacier on recently, and we discussed, definitely a friend of yours, Chris Kanyon.
Yeah.
Chris was always held in high regard, but on Dark Side of the Ring, I guess it's maybe the way they spun it, they almost made it seem like Chris may have possibly taken advantage of your friendship from time to time.
No, I want to clear something up here.
Yeah, please do
now,
that. 'Cause that opinion is out there.
Kanyon was a prick to me after he got signed to be Mortis, after we got on TV.
Okay.
I knew him for 18 years. This happened 5 or 6 years into knowing him, and it happened I would say from March until October of 1997. So that was a blip in our friendship.
Okay.
But and I didn't understand what was going on. I would have at that time, because we were always out drunk and whoring around, I would have figured he was dealing with a hangover and just being a grouchy asshole. I didn't understand depression or anything of the sort. But we fought like cats and dogs for that brief time. But if you had seen, I talked to the Dark Side of the Ring for 3.5 hours. Okay, it wasn't called the Bright Side of the fucking ring, but I thought the way I've watched it a million times. You're trying to combine somebody's entire life into 48 minutes or whatever it is, with commercial time allotted.
I mean,
I thought they told as good as a job as they possibly could within the time allotted. Now, some people I read online thought that I was shitting on Kanyon or presenting him in a bad light, or that the other guys were, but it's like, then you must not have heard all the love that was spun, too. Because Kanyon was a damn good guy, and it's sad that he was tormented like that. And it's sad that not only myself, but the world didn't know much of shit about mental health issues. It was a taboo thing to talk about. It was more taboo to talk about having mental illness than being gay. You know, so he was much more open after he came out about being gay than he would have been about talking about.
There's a couple of weird things here. Well, first I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, and I think you answered it, and that was a good question, Farrell. But a lot of times I feel like Dark Side of the Ring kind of takes your guys' clips and they kind of put them in certain areas to make it sound a certain way. Do you think they represented what you wanted to say the right way?
I think Kanyon would have been absolutely happy with the way he was portrayed because, first of all, he was, the things you don't get to you wind up on the editing cutting room floor. He was into comedy. He loved comedy. Well, there's funny Kanyon stories in there, front loaded. I think he was presented adequately as an innovator, as somebody that people looked up to. I think it's obvious throughout the narrative that he helped a lot of fucking people who would not be here today if it weren't for him. And I think it accurately portrayed. There were some things in it I didn't know about, like the story with the Young Bucks and the shower and the phone call, and the Luke Hawks story. I didn't know about that. I think it accurately portrayed the arc of his life. I think he would like it, and I think that we accurately portrayed the real love and shit as it starts getting really sad towards the end, and actually I love the way they ended it with the line about him saying "fuck you, you missed me" if I tried to hug his ghost. Right. I think he would have liked that. Yeah. It's very difficult. Like I said, take 48 minutes. Take every show you've done and try to do a best of and make it 48 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
A lot to jam in for a lifetime. Yeah.
But
wow.
In speaking to a lot of the ex-wrestlers, right, they all seem to have known that Kanyon was a homosexual, right? And it was not a big deal. So was his depression really not about his homosexuality? It was more that he was just a depressed individual? Because when I watch a Dark Side of the Ring, at first you kind of get the feeling it's because he couldn't come out and it was bothering him. But then in the end, you kind of figure he just had a lot of mental illness that he was dealing with. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's an apples or oranges, chicken or the egg kind of thing. I'm sure. I mean, who knows if this runs in his family or whatnot? I never asked. It's none of my fucking business. But I think it definitely started with his confliction over his sexuality. But as he got older, he wouldn't take his meds. Stuff like that, or he'd take them for 2 weeks and stop. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take antidepressants with alcohol. He wasn't a drug user, but he was a drinker. And that's shit you're not supposed to mix. And supposedly, when you stop things on a dime, that throws you off into another tizzy. And I'm not a doctor, so it's well beyond my pay grade. But it was bipolar because he could be the happiest, funniest person on earth, and then you could almost feel a clock. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he started off great, funny. He's getting a little grouchy. He's going to disappear for 3 months now, and there was a pattern. Excuse me, to his behavior. But if he were still around, first of all, we went through all this, there wouldn't be an issue with him being gay. Nobody would give a fuck anymore.
Right.
And as I told him then, I said, any of these people, people who find out that you're gay now, yeah, maybe some of them will freak out and say, ooh, gay germs or whatnot. And if it stays that way, then fuck those people. They weren't your friend anyway, and you don't need them.
True.
But you'll probably be amazed at how many people will empathize with you,
When you reflect on yourself, do you think you were as good a friend as you could have been for him, or do you wish you could have done more?
I wish I would have known how to do more, There were parts, when somebody calls you 15 or 20 times threatening to kill themselves, and it keeps not happening, there's an element of the boy who cried wolf type of thing. And then when it does happen, yeah, it'll eat your ass up, But you couldn't get him to answer the phone. You know, and you'd call other people, and they would say, well, he won't answer the phone for me. You know, this is just what he does. Yeah, I mean, I'd look back at it, knowing what I know now, I would have done a whole different thing. You know, I would have had him taken somewhere. I didn't know I had the power to do that. You know.
You're a pretty impressive guy, man. I'm pretty impressed. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about your time